Hi friends, welcome back to my channel if you are returning. It's been a while since my last video, and honestly, I really just needed to take a break from content creation. April was such a busy month for me, both with work and personal life and special occasions and being with loved ones, that I really just wanted to take a break from creating content for a bit so that I can be intentional about the time I'm spending with my loved ones, even though I do love making videos. But we're back with a new video, and today we're actually going to go over my 2026 completed junk journal so far. Obviously, this is only for the months of January to mid-May, so it's not the full year, but it's at least the first half of the year. And I'm actually really excited that I have finished this first junk journal because usually it takes me a really long time to finish a junk journal. So this is the fastest that I have completed a junk journal, and I'm just really excited to go over the spreads with you. So without further ado, let's go ahead and flip through my junk journal for 2026 so far. For my 2026 journal, I used the Leuchtturm journal in A5 size and also in the softcover version, which I also used for my 2025 junk journal. I personally like using a softcover version of the journal because it's flexible as the journal gets chunkier, so I never had to worry about the journal breaking at any point. And for this journal, I also glued down every other page, which made me have to do less spreads overall. And I think that's why I was able to finish this journal so much quicker. My first spread of this journal is actually my intro page, and I actually have to put my finish date, so I'm going to do that right now with my label maker. This is just a random label maker that I bought off of Amazon, and basically what you do is you just click the letters that you want to type out, and then it embosses it onto this black tape. So now I have a finish date for my intro page so that I know when I started my journal and when I ended that journal. I wanted to keep my intro page quite simple, so all I did was take a picture with my Polaroid and cut out this 2026 in this yellow felt. I generally like to keep my intro pages quite simple, so this was right up my alley, but still a little fun and funky with the felt. On to the next spreads. I like to do an ins and out of the year and also write a letter to myself. So whenever it's a new year or approaching a new year, I like to write the ins and outs that I want to incorporate into the year, and that way I could kind of keep myself accountable whenever I fall into bad habits, or just as a way to remind myself of what I want to bring in. This spread has a lot less junk than my usual style, but I like to include it either way. On to the next page, I like to write a letter to myself. This spread is really quite simple. I basically just write a letter to my future self with all of the hopes and dreams and aspirations that I want future self to remember. I'll usually keep the letter closed until the end of the year for me to read it. On to the next spread, which is a snapshot of me spread. So I wanted to dedicate a spread to kind of the things that I liked for 2025. So what I did is I printed out a picture of a Polaroid as well as a Polaroid of myself, and on the other page I highlighted some albums and books that I loved for the year. I really wanted to add more to the spread, but there wasn't enough room because I definitely miscalculated the dimensions of the printouts. But either way, it's still a really fun spread to kind of commemorate who you were last year. This next spread I like to call the Museum of 2025, where I printed out a bunch of photo frames and highlights from the year and arranged it into a gallery. So this picture are of the flowers that I received on my first day of my new job, which was so exciting. And then I took a few more pictures of Chicago when I visited during St. Patrick's Day, and it was actually my first time seeing the River Green, which was actually a lot more exciting than I thought it would be. Down here is a photo when the Dodgers were having their World Series celebration after winning back-to-back, and I went to the stadium to watch them receive their trophy. I had never really been that into baseball until meeting my boyfriend, so it was really exciting to start getting into baseball and then have your home team win, and then also be around Dodger fans who are so into the sport and team. Up here I have some photos from Big Bear during my birthday trip, and I love escaping into nature, so Big Bear is one of my favorite places to go to. Down here are photos from concerts that I went to last year. So this one is from TXT's concert when they were last in LA and they performed at the BMO Stadium. And then this next two photos are from J-Hope's solo tour, Hope on the Stage. And my friend and I had VIP tickets for both days of his tour in LA, which is kind of crazy, but definitely still worth it. And I love this spread as a way to kind of look at all of the highlights from the last next year. This next spread is a good old-fashioned vision board. I feel like you can't start a new year without starting a vision board. It seems like just the thing to do. So what I did is I printed out a bunch of photos from Pinterest and I laid it out in a way that looked and felt right to me. There's really no rhyme or reason to it. It was just things that I want to bring in for 2026, and also affirmations that I want to remind myself for the year, and just to remind myself of what I'm working towards and what I want to achieve this year. On to the first junk journal spread of the year. This was a spread that I did dedicated to bringing in the new year. So I actually kept this year really chill. I didn't really do anything much. I feel like the older I get, the less excited I get about New Year's, but I still wanted to do a little bit of something. So I cut out this little hat that we had for our celebration and put it as the background. And I also kept the receipt from the dinner that I had the night before on New Year's Eve, as well as the coffee that I had on New Year's Day. But I actually fell asleep before the ball even dropped. So yeah, it was not a very exciting New Year's, but still one that I wanted to remember. This next spread is kind of like a junk dump type spread, but I spent a whole day in Pasadena and kind of just collected all of the receipts and junk from all of the places that I visited. So I went to Badash Bakes, which is one of my favorite bakeries in Pasadena, and I also kept some receipts from Vroman's bookstore that I bought for gifts for some friends. And yeah, there really isn't much to it, but it is just a junk dump type spread. This next spread is an aquarium date that I went on with my boyfriend, and fun fact, I wanted to be a marine biologist, and I actually took a study abroad program for marine biology until I got a C in one of the most important classes of the program, which totally discouraged me. So I actually did not pursue marine biology, which was really heartbreaking, but I still do love the ocean. But yeah, I didn't have that much junk to work with, so I just used the Scandinavian Swimmers bag and kind of used that to fill up some space, and I think it was really cool how it turned out. But yeah, this was a really fun day and I think a really fun spread also. On to the next spread. This is a junk dump of all of the different trinkets and food that I had over the past few weeks, including a Bagu bag, but I wanted to mainly highlight the Nyoto pull that I got from Pop Market, and this was actually the first ever Pop Market purchase that I've ever done. I thought she was such a cute figurine and she makes me so happy all the time. I also included the packaging from a Jellycat plushie that my friend got me for Christmas, and yeah, this is just a different hodgepodge of all of the different things that I had collected over the last few weeks. And I also kept this wine bottle label that I had from Thanksgiving last year that I wanted to feature, but I was really feeling inspired by all of the blues in the packaging, so this is that spread. This next spread is a book log for the books that I read over the year. So one of my goals for 2026 is to read more, and as you can see, I have not made that much progress on my goal. I have read more than one book this year, but I haven't really been doing a good job at updating this book log, and I think it's because this pop-up that I thought would be cool kind of takes up a lot of space, and it just makes me not motivated to update this spread. So I think what I'm going to do is just recreate a book log elsewhere, either in my planner or in another journal, and just make it a lot more simpler so that I'm more motivated to, one, read more, and two, update my book log. But yeah, this is one book log that I wanted to start for the year. This next spread is a cute little spread that I did after visiting the Photo Booth Museum in San Francisco. I saw this post on Pinterest and wanted to take my own attempt at it. So basically what it is it's kind of like an interactive journal spread where the photo strip pulls down like it's developed, but it didn't really turn out how I wanted it to be. But anyways, it was still really fun to try my attempt and also try something new here. But yeah, this is really a simple, well, not so simple, but this is a journal spread dedicated to photo booths and photo booth strips because it has become one of my favorite hobbies to look for photo booths and take photo booth pictures. This next spread is dedicated to the Twice concert that I went to earlier this year at Oakland Arena, and I've been to Oakland Arena before a few times, and it's one of my favorite venues to see concerts at. This background is just one of the confettis that I had, and I really just used a lot of the freebies that they gave as part of the VIP package and the wristband that they gave us for the spread, and tried to make it work as best as I could. But this was a really fun concert. I love Twice. They're one of my favorite girl groups ever. So it was really fun to see them with my friend and just enjoy the concert together. This next spread is after a day that I spent in Chinatown in Los Angeles. So I went to Phillips, which is like a sandwich place. I went to Paper Plant Co., which is a stationery store that's one of my favorites. And they also share a space with Thank You Coffee. They have this really good 5-spice latte, which is so good and kind of spicy from the cardamom, but it's really good. But yeah, I just collected all of the junk that I accumulated from this day out. This was all collected within a day, so it's kind of crazy, but it was really fun, and it's just an area that I really love to walk around in. I think Chinatown is one of my favorite neighborhoods of downtown LA, so it's always really fun to just walk around and peruse there. This next spread is another Pinterest inspired journal spread, and it's a what fills your cup spread. So the concept of this spread is really quite easy. I just cut out a cutout of a mug, and then I created a slit so that I can insert some of these little papers with the things that fills my own cup. And then on the next page, I went ahead and just collected some junk from beverages that I had collected over the past few weeks. So it's mostly a lot of tea bags and this yuzu drink that I had, but I thought that would be a fun way to incorporate some junk into my journal spread. But this one is really quite easy and one that you can do if you're just in a rut and need some inspiration. This next spread are actually stamps that I collected over the California Pen Show. I think it was in March, but I kind of wish I brought a different journal with me for the stamps because it feels really out of place to have these stamps in my junk journal when it's not really junk. But either way, this was a really fun I guess conference or convention to go to because it was just filled with a lot of stationery lovers and experts who just knew fountain pens a lot more than I did. This next spread is a hodgepodge of all of the different junk that I collected whenever I make breakfast. So I'm someone that right when I wake up, I pretty much need food immediately. And before, I used to really never think about breakfast because I would always just grab either a banana or some yogurt or something really quick. But lately, I have been really enjoying having a slow morning where I'm able to make my matcha, I'm able to cook some eggs and whatever else my heart desires for breakfast. So this is kind of an accumulation of all of the different breakfast foods that I ate over the past few weeks. There's no real rhyme or reason to it, but I just wanted to kind of remind myself of how much I enjoy a slow morning and how much I enjoy actually cooking breakfast that isn't just a banana or yogurt. This next spread is a really simple one where I made a wish list using all of the catalogs that I got in the mail. I used to never ever flip through these, and as I was in the process of throwing these out, I decided to hold on to these and just flip through them, and that's where I got the idea of making a wish list. It's honestly such a simple journal idea, but I thought it would be really nice to just find a way to use up these catalogs that would otherwise go in the trash. And I'm kind of glad that I found a way to use this because someone somewhere worked hard to create and print this catalog, so I'm glad I found a use for it. This next spread is a washi tape quilt that I did after using, I think it was over 20 rolls of washi tape. I don't know what provoked me to save over 20 rolls of empty washi tape, but I did, and I don't know, I just figured I needed a way to use it, so a quilt was the best and the most straightforward way of me using all of these empty washi tape rolls. So that's what I did, and then I just traced around with an acrylic marker so that it looked like a quilt. But that's pretty much this spread. This next journal spread is taking inspiration from Martina Calvi's A Year of Junk Journaling book, where she had a spread idea of a soundtrack of your life. I decided to do a soundtrack of my youth because I had a bunch of 90s / millennial related stickers that I thought it would be fun to use, and also use this as a way to reminisce on the songs and music that shaped my childhood. This next spread is a boba trip that I took to Jam Jam Tea and Moments. I had seen this boba shop all over my TikTok, and then I saw how cute their packaging and their branding was, so I immediately ran, and it took me almost 40 minutes to get to my closest Jam Jam, but it was so cute with all of their branding that it was so worth it. And I got a mango matcha latte, I think it was, and it was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't like the best matcha in the world, but I don't think they're necessarily known for their matcha, so I would go back and try a drink that they're better known for, but I definitely just had to go and run and just get all of the branding because it was just so cute. This next spread I did in honor of International Women's Day, and this was around the time of the Winter Olympics and when Stateside by Pink Panthers and Zara Larsson were really huge, and also right after Olivia Dean won the Grammys for Best New Artist. So it just felt like a period of time where just women were just doing it all, as we always do. So I just wanted to create this little spread to remember that. This next spread I did for St. Patrick's Day, and I didn't really have that much St. Patrick's Day junk to work with, so I essentially just grabbed anything green and this leftover box of Lucky Charms for some of the lucky imagery and just tried to create a spread using all of this, but there really isn't any rhyme or reason to it, just a lot of green, some Lucky Charms, and some lucky themes going on around here. Okay, this next spread, I wasn't sure if I was going to feature it because as you can see, it's completely empty, but I wanted to show it anyways just to talk about the importance of finding a journaling time and style and method that works for you. So the concept behind this spread was to essentially add a piece of junk every day. Obviously, I didn't do that, and it kind of just helped me realize that I shouldn't force myself to journal in a way that doesn't feel natural or doesn't feel right for me just because everyone else does it. This next spread is a red junk dump spread. I feel like I always gravitate towards red junk, or I just always end up having a lot of red junk to create these junk dump type spreads, but I essentially just grabbed anything and everything that I had was red or red adjacent and created a journal spread out of it. So there's no real rhyme or reason to this, just anything that was red or close to red that would fit in this journal spread. This next spread was definitely outside of my comfort zone. I feel like my usual journaling style is very light and colorful, and this one is pretty much all black, but I wanted to challenge myself because my cousins had got me a Pop Mart box, and so I wanted to use up all of the packaging and everything that came with this blind box, and so I think it came out really cute, and I tried this flap feature with the bag that the toy came with, and so I think despite it not being my usual journaling style, I'm still really proud of how it came out. Kind of just act as a reminder to just try to go outside of your comfort zone, and if you don't like it, then you know, it's not the end of the world, it's just a journal spread. So this was really fun to actually do and find a creative way to be outside of my comfort zone while still enjoying the process. This next journal spread very much is my journaling style, where it's very light and very colorful, but it's an accumulation of junk from 2 days in LA, where I first went to Cafe Knotted to try the butter top. I think I'm saying that right, but it's the butter mochi cakes that have been really popular in South Korea. So we tried it at Cafe Knotted, and then the next day we went to Silver Lake where we tried Olive and James because we were desperate for coffee and they had a parking lot, and that was a huge deciding factor. And then we also went to the photo booth museum just right down the street, and that's where this photo booth strip is from. But this was just a really cute girls date over 2 days in Los Angeles, which I always love going into LA, but it's not always the easiest to go into LA. This next spread is actually 2 journal spreads in one. So the first one was a matcha date with one of my online journaling friends, Lydia. I believe her username is Journal with Lids, but I will put a screenshot of her Instagram and TikTok, so you all should go and follow her. She has the most amazing journal spreads ever. We went and got some matcha and obviously journaled about it. And then on the next page is a bagel date that I had with my boyfriend. We decided to grab some brunch at Boil and Bake, which is a super viral bagel shop in Costa Mesa. We waited for I think 45 minutes, and I will say it was worth the wait. The bagels were super fluffy and the toppings were super fresh. It was one of the best smoked salmon that I've had in a very long time. And also, once you're in, it is pretty fast to get your actual bagel, so I would say it is worth the wait. This next spread was trying yerba mate for the first time ever, and it was actually my first time trying yerba mate, the tea, for the first time ever, and so it was a really interesting experience. I wasn't really sure what to expect for the flavors. It was really herbal, but it was still very good. Like, I could still taste traces of the flavor of the drink that I had, and it actually gave me a really good energy boost for a long time, and I didn't really get a crash, so that was pretty cool, but nothing really much to this journal spread. The second to last journal spread that I have in this journal is a blind box pull from Miniso. So I was just browsing my local Miniso and I saw this Hello Kitty bear keychain, and oh my gosh, I needed it immediately. I had two pulls that I wanted to pull, and I pulled the Hello Kitty one, which was my top desired pull. So I was super happy. So I basically just kept the Miniso bag and receipt and the packaging of the blind box and created this journal spread and tried to fill it up as much as I could. On to the last journal spread. So this is all of the leftover junk that I had on a recent Seattle trip that I had with my boyfriend. I don't know how, we were only there for a few days, but I collected so much junk and it just felt wasteful to get rid of it. So I just put all of the remaining junk in this journal spread. It's primarily junk from Mochi Things, which is a stationery store just right off of Pike's Place. So it felt fitting to dedicate this journal spread to Mochi Things and Pike's Place and just all of the little tidbits of junk that I kept over this weekend. So there really isn't much to this journal spread other than it's leftover junk from Seattle, and I usually keep this in my traveler's notebook, but because I had so much junk I decided to put it in this journal. But yeah, that was my entire 2026 junk journal so far. I hope this helped to give you some inspiration for your own journal spreads. And if you like this video, please remember to like this video and subscribe for more journaling content. Bye!